Quick disclaimer, before the video begins, just know that I'm making these far in advance of their scheduled upload times, so most of these videos were done long before you began watching. That being said, sometime during the filming of the third episode, which will be called Episode 2 because this one's Episode 0, I know it's confusing, I got a new mic, so you hear a big improvement in sound quality during that episode. That also happens to be the episode where we debut our new intro, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, this video will start off with a quick history lesson to show you how the idea of this game came to fruition. So, we're going to take a trip back to the magical year of 2012, and to do that, I'm going to set the mood.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Call me maybe.
Baby.
10 seconds to comply.
I like your ass. You're lying, Morgan.
There, mood set. So, the year was 2012. People were still reeling from the ending of Mass Effect 3, and there was no deadly world-eating V-word. Not the V-word you're thinking of, just not allowed to say the word on screen. Wow, this is a great start to the channel, isn't it? So far, we have 2012 nostalgia and the V-word. Be sure to tune in next week when we discuss the F-word and the stock market crash. Anyways, the world was just about to get ready to end because the planets were aligning, or there was going to be a flood, or some guy from hundreds of years ago ran out of pages in his Mayan calendar.
Sorry about this calendar. March 14th.
NANI?
Where was I? Oh yeah, it was 2012 and I was sitting on my couch one day after school watching whatever stupid after-school show was on before SpongeBob came on. You know, the show kids actually wanted to watch.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And as I'm sitting there enjoying my CT crunch, as all kids should, I met with this crazy TV ad for an upcoming game.
Up there, way up in the skies, you thought you had your finger on the trigger. But I'm here.
Got to try a little tenderness.
I thought, I might try it, looks kind of generic, whatever. But then I saw this little quote tacked right onto the end of the trailer. And then I thought to myself for a second, holy crap, that's it, my god, they've cracked the code. They're talking about Fallout. I'll go play that instead. Cue the intro. That's right, I stole that from MXR. Hello everyone, welcome to a new series where you follow me as I create my dream video game. Now what better way to begin this process than, you guessed it, a history lesson.
It was a bright and sunny morning.
Fast forward to the year 2016. I just started my undergraduate degree in health sciences at the University of Ottawa, right here in Canada. For those of you who don't know what that is, not Canada, the degree I mean, not that everyone needs to know where Canada is, we're kind of a joke. Anyways, a health science degree is basically a degree program for people who are too stupid to get into a medical or nursing program.
Oh my god! My husband's having a heart attack! Is anyone here a doctor?
I have a 13-inch penis.
Now at the beginning of school, I was met with a choice. Study hard, do well in school, and go on to have a successful career, or find something else to do that wasn't studying. Like most of us would, I carefully weighed the pros and cons of my two options, and I came to a decision. I'm gonna make a video game. So, what would my game be about? Well, of course this was a very important decision I had to make, wasn't it? Totally underestimating the skill and effort it took to make a video game, as well as greatly overestimating my own abilities, I set off to come up with the perfect idea for a game. And surely it wouldn't take more than a few days to make, right?
Wrong. Preparing the
Perfect video game.
So there I was, setting off to make my very own video game. I thought to myself, I could make the sequel to Destiny, my favorite game, but Bungie and Activision would just want royalty payments from me, and I didn't want to sell off my immense talent. Now, I'd also heard that World of Warcraft was pretty good. Maybe I'd just make a better version of that. And I thought, nah, that's way too easy. But then, my extremely smart brain thought, what's the greatest video game ever made? Something that would be even better, if it had guns. I would make a sequel to QWOP. Nah, too ambitious. Alright, better just make Skyrim with guns then. So, I wanted to make Skyrim with guns. Well, there were a few things I had to put on my list of things to add to the game.
16 times the detail.
Maybe not. Now I quickly learned that a game of this scope was way beyond anything that I could ever do. One thing that made matters even worse was watching YouTube tutorials and seeing just how much better everyone else was at coding than I was. You know when you think you're going to be really good at something, and then you watch someone else do it for the first time and you realize how bad you suck?
I'm partial to doing it in the key of A minor myself.
So I spent all 4 years of my undergrad degree taking game development courses and studying the ins and outs of the game creation process using the Unreal Engine 4 game engine. I learned some basic coding skills and lots about Unreal Engine's blueprint functionality, which essentially is just visual coding for dummies like me. By the time I graduated from my undergrad, I had 4 years of game development experience under my belt.
Years of academy training wasted.
Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of my poorly made games up until this point, as I finally decided to upgrade my toaster of a computer, so now I have
16 times the detail.
and I can see
Distant weather systems.
That said, I do have a few poorly shot video clips on my phone of previous projects that I worked on, and I might drip feed those to you as time goes on, so be sure to keep an eye out. I know, I haven't gotten to the game yet, but hang in there, I'll get there. So, fast forward to 2020, and I'm starting my master's degree, but much more importantly, I'm finally starting my game. That means my history lesson is over, and it's finally time to start laying out what exactly this game is all about.
Let me put it to you this way, cuz.
So, first and foremost, let's cover the game's working title, for convenience sake. For now, the game shall be known as Game. So, working title Game will be a single-player RPG with a focus on story and some fun and interesting combat. I want the game to be kind of like if Oblivion and Mass Effect had a baby.
Kill me! I'm in constant pain!
Now, I would say Skyrim and Mass Effect, but I guess I'm one of those Oblivion supremacists due to, the much better design of Oblivion.
It's all over, lawbreaker.
All jokes aside, my goal here is to create a world where the past and the future meet, and the merging of technology creates some fun and interesting story events and environments. How will this work? Well, you'll have to watch the next episode about the game story, won't you? Now, I really like how melee combat works in Assassin's Creed, so I would love to have my melee system work kind of like that. I know a lot of open world RPGs are, let's say notorious for having some janky melee interactions. As for the gun combat, I want to have a Mass Effect style shooter system where your character can take cover, use abilities, use the environment against enemies, that sort of thing. Now, I'm not by any means a genius game developer, but I think I can pretty closely replicate Skyrim's stealth systems as well as its bow and arrow combat, which I think will work just fine.
All of this just works. I'm not kidding.
As for abilities, because this is a sort of past meets future type game that will include a bit of time travel, I want my abilities to incorporate lots of time dilation. An example of this would be the slow motion dive and shoot from something like Max Payne or The Matrix, so that's something I'd definitely like to add. Now obviously I would also like to add some usable vehicles like boats or horses, maybe some futuristic vehicles like Destiny's Sparrow, but we'll see, that hasn't really worked out for some other ambitious projects.
Would you let go of my wheel? Hey, come on! Hey, watch it!
And obviously, I'd love to have lots of interesting NPCs because those are what breathe life into a game.
Gamers don't play games like NPCs, and they can never be substitutes for them. Especially because people are shitty assholes in games by nature.
The nice thing about this game being single player is that coding all these systems will be much easier, and I don't have to worry about multiplayer functionality or servers.
As a matter of fact, you'll never even see a server when you play.
Fun side note, I know I rag on it a lot, but I actually beat Fallout 76 and loved it, glitches and all. And no, I'm not using the tired old excuse that it was fun with friends because that's how it was meant to be played. In fact, I don't even have any friends, so I just played with myself. Anyways, as for the environment, I want the game to take place in an environment that more reflects the past than it does the future. So we're talking medieval taverns and villages, castles, dungeons, and dragons. I mean, my goal here is to make Skyrim with guns, not Call of Duty with swords. That would just be Destiny. And like I said before, I'm not making another Destiny sequel just so Bungie doesn't have to work on it and they can collect royalties. Anyways, that's my game. Probably gonna suck and no one will ever play it. See you next week when we talk about the storyline and maybe come up with a better title.